Margaret couldn't sleep. The pain shot through her calf like a sudden storm. Again, she sat up in the dark, massaging her leg, trying not to cry. She thought it was just another sign of getting older. But what if it wasn't? What if your body is trying to warn you about something bigger, and you've been brushing it off? She had just gotten into bed. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet that only seems to settle in when you live alone. Margaret was 74, still sharp, still proud of doing most things by herself, driving to the grocery store, trimming her little garden, heating up leftovers in her tiny kitchen. But that night, as she turned off the bedside lamp and pulled the blanket over her legs, a sharp, stabbing pain in her calf made her sit up with a cry. The cramp gripped her like a vice, sudden, twisting, cruel. She tried to stretch her leg, then massage it, but it was no use. It lasted only a minute, maybe less, but to her, it felt like forever. When it passed, she sat in the dark, afraid to lie back down. She didn't want it to come again. And it wasn't the first time. Leg cramps. They sound harmless, temporary, just a nuisance. But if you've ever had one, especially in the middle of the night, you know it's more than that. It can steal your sleep. It can make you afraid to move. And for many older adults, it's not just an isolated spasm. It's a message, one we too often ignore. You see, when Margaret came to my office a few weeks later, her first words were not, "I have leg cramps." Her first words were, "I think I'm getting old." It broke my heart, not because aging is bad, but because for so many people, symptoms like these feel like a sign that life is shrinking, that the body is turning against you, that independence might be slipping away. But that's not the truth. Not always. And certainly not without a fight. I'm Dr. Masayuki, and I specialize in senior health. With over 20 years of experience in geriatric care, preventative medicine, and the science of healthy aging, my mission is to help people over 50 live longer, stronger, and more fulfilling lives. What I told Margaret, and what I want to tell you now, is this. Leg cramps are not always random. They are often a signal, a warning, a whisper from your body that something needs attention. And if you listen, really listen, you can catch things early. You can make changes. You can stay strong. Let's begin by peeling back the curtain. What's actually going on when your leg cramps up like that? A muscle cramp is an involuntary contraction, meaning it tightens up without your permission. It might hit your calf, your thigh, or even the arch of your foot. It feels like a hard knot under the skin, and it can make even the bravest person wince. Now, in younger folks, this might happen after a long run or a tough workout, but in older adults, it's more complex and more important to investigate. For Margaret, the cramps were happening at night, a common pattern. These nocturnal cramps affect nearly half of all adults over 60. Half. But the real concern is not just how many people have them, it's why they're happening. Sometimes it's dehydration. As we age, we don't feel thirst as acutely, and our muscles, which are mostly water, become more prone to misfiring. Sometimes it's a loss of minerals, especially magnesium, potassium, or calcium, that keeps our muscles and nerves in balance. These minerals act like traffic lights for your nervous system, telling muscles when to contract and when to release. Without them, chaos. Other times, it's circulation. If your blood vessels are narrowed due to age, diabetes, smoking, or cholesterol, your muscles may not get the oxygen and nutrients they need. The result? They cramp up in protest. Then there's nerve health. Conditions like spinal stenosis or pinched nerves in the lower back can radiate down to the legs, making them tense or twitch uncontrollably. And in some cases, medications play a role. Diuretics, statins, or even certain blood pressure pills can cause mineral loss or nerve sensitivity that leads to cramps. But here's the hidden danger. When leg cramps start happening more often, or more severely, they can be a red flag. Not always, but often enough that we should never brush them off. Sometimes, they're an early sign of peripheral artery disease, a condition where narrowed arteries reduce blood flow to the limbs. It doesn't always cause pain at rest, but cramps during movement or even at night, can be a subtle clue. Sometimes they're a symptom of declining kidney function, where electrolyte balance starts to shift, even before lab tests raise alarms. Sometimes they point to undiagnosed diabetes, or the early nerve damage that comes with it. And very often, they are simply the body's cry for care, a need for replenishment, movement, gentle correction. So what can you do? You don't need to become a medical detective, but you can become a careful listener to your body and your habits. And that starts with small, powerful changes. First, hydrate with intention. Don't wait until you're thirsty. That signal becomes less reliable with age. Instead, aim for steady, gentle hydration throughout the day. Sip water, herbal teas. Add a slice of lemon or cucumber if plain water doesn't appeal to you. Avoid drinking too much at once, especially before bed, to prevent frequent bathroom trips. Second, mind your minerals. Foods rich in magnesium, like leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole grains, can help prevent cramps. Bananas and avocados give you potassium. Dairy, tofu, and canned salmon offer calcium. You don't always need a supplement, food first, whenever possible. But if your doctor agrees, a gentle magnesium supplement at night can be helpful for many people. Third, keep moving the right way. Immobility is one of the worst culprits for leg cramps. Sitting for hours or lying still in bed can cause blood to pool and muscles to stiffen. A short walk after dinner, gentle leg stretches before bed, or simply flexing your feet and toes while seated can make a world of difference. Even lifting your heels off the ground a few times a day, as if you were tiptoeing, helps keep the calf muscles active and blood flowing. Fourth, review your medications. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist. Are any of your medications depleting magnesium or potassium? Are there safer alternatives? This step alone has solved the cramp mystery for many of my patients. Fifth, listen to the pattern. When do your cramps happen? Is it always at night? Always in one leg? Do they follow certain foods, activities, or stress? Write it down. Patterns reveal causes, and causes reveal solutions. Margaret started writing things down. At first, it felt silly to her, tracking her cramps like they were important. But within 2 weeks, a pattern emerged. On the nights she forgot to stretch, the cramps returned. When she drank too much coffee and skipped water, they were worse. And slowly she realized these weren't just random episodes. They were a form of communication. And that's the heart of what I want you to know. Your body isn't betraying you. It's trying to talk to you. Even in pain, even in discomfort, it's offering clues, subtle invitations to pay attention, to course correct, to nurture. But for too many of us, the habit is to ignore, minimize, or push through. We say things like, it's just part of getting older. And yes, aging changes the landscape. But it doesn't mean we stop tending to the garden. One of the most powerful things you can do is reclaim your role in this conversation. Not as a passive observer of decline, but as an active steward of your own health. Curious, compassionate, and willing to try. That's what Margaret did. We added a simple bedtime routine to her day. No more than 10 minutes. First, she'd fill a small glass of warm water and sip it slowly, letting her body know it wasn't going to bed depleted. Then, she'd do 3 stretches. A seated forward bend to loosen her hamstrings, a standing calf stretch against the wall, and a gentle downward dog, or her own version of it, using a chair for support. It wasn't perfect. Some nights, she was tired. Some nights, the cramps still came, but softer, less often. And something else began to shift too, her confidence. She no longer felt powerless. She no longer feared bedtime. And she started walking more during the day because movement felt less like a threat. You see, when we treat symptoms like random enemies, we stay stuck in fear. But when we understand their meaning, they become part of our healing. That's true not just for leg cramps, but for so many things we face as we age. Take circulation, for instance. Good blood flow is essential for everything, our muscles, our brain, even our heart. But it doesn't just happen. It depends on small, daily habits, like walking, stretching, staying hydrated, and nourishing our vessels with anti-inflammatory foods, berries, leafy greens, olive oil, fish. And yet, how many of us learned that leg cramps could be a sign that circulation is slowing down, that your arteries may be whispering, "I need a little help here"? It's why I always ask patients, do your legs cramp when you're walking? Do they ease when you rest? That's not just a nuisance. That's called claudication, and it's one of the early clues to peripheral artery disease. But here's the good news. The earlier you catch it, the more reversible it is. Simple walking programs, just 20 to 30 minutes a day, can improve symptoms dramatically. Not intense workouts, just consistent movement, paired with healthy fats, lower sugar, and a little weight loss if needed. It's a therapy that costs nothing and changes everything. The truth is, we live in a culture that celebrates youth, but often forgets the wisdom of the body in its later years. I've had patients who dismiss real symptoms for years because they felt ashamed of growing older, ashamed of bothering the doctor, or afraid of what tests might reveal. But what I tell them, and what I want to tell you, is this. You are not a burden. You are a human being with a body that deserves care, dignity, and respect. If your legs cramp every night, speak up. If you're waking up exhausted, afraid to move, or wincing with every step, don't write it off. Because here's the quiet truth no one tells you. The body is incredibly forgiving. Even after decades of stress, neglect, or pain, it wants to heal. It tries, again and again. All it needs is your partnership. I've seen 80-year-olds regain their strength. I've seen people reverse prediabetes in 6 weeks. I've seen patients in wheelchairs walk again, because they were given the tools, the support, and most importantly, the belief that it wasn't too late. So if you're listening to this, and a part of you feels discouraged, maybe you've been dealing with cramps for months, or you've lost faith in your energy, or you've started shrinking your life to avoid discomfort, I want you to know something. There is still time. There are still steps to take, still mornings to wake up without fear, still walks to be had, still evenings to stretch, gently, with music playing in the background, while your body exhales its tension like a long-held breath. Start where you are, not where you wish you were, not where someone else says you should be, just here, with one small act of kindness toward your legs, your body, your future. Maybe it's drinking more water tomorrow. Maybe it's buying a magnesium-rich snack instead of chips. Maybe it's asking your doctor, could these cramps be something more? Whatever it is, choose it, not from fear, but from love. Because healing isn't about perfection, it's about participation. Margaret didn't become a yoga master. She didn't change everything at once, but she chose to listen, to ask questions, to try. And 6 months later, when she came in for her follow-up, she sat down, crossed her legs, and smiled. "They're mostly gone," she said, "and I sleep better too." She looked proud, and rightly so, because in listening to her cramps, she had learned to trust her body again, and that is no small victory. And maybe that's where you are today, standing at the edge of discomfort, not sure what it means, not sure what to do. If so, let this be your sign. Not of failure, but of possibility. Your body isn't trying to punish you. It's inviting you to a deeper conversation, one where you get to say, I'm still here, I still matter, and I'm not done yet. So, stretch tonight, walk tomorrow, drink the water, eat the greens, ask the questions. And when the cramps come, if they do, you'll know. They're not just pain. They're messages. They're messengers. And now, you know how to listen. If Margaret's story spoke to something in you, take it as your quiet nudge. You don't need to fix everything overnight. Just begin with care, a stretch, a walk, a glass of water. Your body is still listening, still trying, still worthy of your attention. If this video helped you feel seen, tap subscribe below to stay updated on senior health tips. Share it with someone who needs hope, and stay connected. You're not alone on this journey. We're walking it together, one healing step at a time. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, You're doing better than you think.